Well, with 250,000 Sydney residents locked down in some form and prevented from carrying out the usual shopping duties pre-Christmas, and a large number of vulnerable Australians still steering clear of crowds and queues, we might have expected a below par result in pre-Christmas retail sales. But we hear today that the opposite is the case, with the retail sector experiencing a bounce back. To tell us how this spending period has gone, I caught up with the CEO of the National Retail Association, Dominique late this afternoon.
The National Retail Association is very pleased to report that this Christmas is looking incredibly positive. With consumers, the predictions are about $52.4 billion being spent this year, and that's about a 5% increase on last year's figures.
Gee, that's good. That must surprise you.
Absolutely. I mean, I was surprised at how much money seems to still be in the economy. We know obviously there's a lot of stimulus out there, but people have been saving their dollars and are just out and about, I think, gifting because those borders are open and they're planning on having those events which require them to, feed people and give them presents on Christmas. And it means that our retailers are, relieved.
There must have been some disadvantages, though, for retailers, especially in the CBD, with those on the northern beaches unable to get out of that region to get into the city and shop.
There's no doubt that there are certainly clusters around the country that have had it harder than others, and certainly categories that have had it harder than others. But what we've been very pleased to see is those foot traffic numbers are up in the majority of locations across the country. And sales days like Black Friday and Cyber Monday have had just an incredible following this year, which we just haven't seen in years prior.
I guess it's all to do with what we did during the pandemic, which is keep our hands in our pockets, keep inside, and we saved a lot of money at that period, didn't we?
We definitely save money, and it's definitely coming out now. We know that even online, our online figures, Australians have spent $5.2 billion this Christmas, and that's a 53% increase on last year's figures as well.
We've had too many interstate border closures, though. The border's gone up and it's gone down, it's gone up, it's gone down again. That has to have an impact.
Look, definitely. We know that when Australians go on holiday that they spend almost double of what they would normally spend. So having those borders closed, having a bit of uncertainty around that has definitely meant that we haven't had all the tourists that we would like to see across the country. But now with, borders in particular locations open to the majority of the country, we are starting to see those domestic tourist dollars flow in. And frankly, I think our tourist operators are also a little bit relieved.
Is it too early to determine what percentage of retail sales during the lead up to Christmas were online or were within shops, hard touch of items?
Look, it is difficult to tell you the exact percentage at this time, but we do know that Australians spend about 9.5% annually online in comparison to in-store. So right now, the figures are looking like online is going to be a small fraction of what they spent in-store. And we know that the foot traffic numbers are really indicating that people are out and about touching and feeling products again. And, obviously they're trying to socially distance and adhering to COVID-safe plans, but it appears that people are just itching to kind of go back to a bit of normalcy and really just experience, I guess, what our shopping centres have to offer at this time of year.
Just anecdotally, I'm speaking to people that go out and buy things, cars, Christmas shopping, etc. And a lot of people are telling me on Talkback Radio that there are supply chain problems and they haven't been able to get hold of certain commodities. How much has that played a role?
Look, I think that during COVID, the retailers, in the typical categories outside of cars and the like, did have some delay there. But as of Christmas time, we haven't seen too many delays in things like electricals, white goods, homewares, or any of those larger items that were certainly being manufactured offshore and experiencing some of those delays. And in many cases, our retailers have had a bit of time to plan around that just because, unfortunately, the pandemic has been going on for so long and they are producing new products. So at this stage, a lack of stock has certainly not, inhibited our retailers in any way.
Boxing Day is traditionally known for a great sport, and I'm not talking about the cricket at the G, I'm talking about Boxing Day sales. What are we looking at in terms of impediments to be rushing into a shop, and how do you think the Boxing Day sales will go?
Look, at this stage, the Boxing Day sales are looking very positive, with Australians set to spend $2.75 billion. Again, about a 5% increase on last year's figures. And what we do know is that obviously, consumers are going to have to prepare for a bit of a different Boxing Day this season. You will be required to wait. There will be limited numbers in store and certainly in centres. You are going to be required to, sanitise your hands, potentially wear masks or be temperature checked in some locations. But of course, it is for both the retail workers' safety and the consumer safety, and we've been very pleased to report that we are seeing consumers adhere to these social distancing rules, particularly where retail workers are involved. But of course, we would remind them, no one deserves a serve at this time of year. So, please be kind to our retail workers. They've been putting in a lot of hours.
Yes, exactly. Calm the farm. Now, in terms of discounts, we keep hearing every time Boxing Day sales come up that things are genuine. How genuine will the discounts be this year, do you think?
Boxing Day sales are our pinnacle sales day of the retail calendar. We know that they will be probably over 75% in some cases, and this is the year to get a really good and genuine bargain, mainly because, some of our retailers have a lot of stock they haven't been able to get out the door if they didn't have an online platform or if they were closed for a long period. So this is the year. If you haven't been into Boxing Day sales, now is absolutely the time to engage with those retailers.
All right, I'll get my membership ticket and maybe have a go this year. It sounds promising. Thank you so much. Have a great Christmas, Dominique.
Merry Christmas.